Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, you're gonna want to hear how this ends. She didn't see me. Not at first. I stood maybe 5 feet from the table, just far enough to hear her whisper something into his ear and giggle like a schoolgirl, the kind of giggle I hadn't heard in our house for years. He reached out and tucked her hair behind her ear like they were in some rom-com montage, and she leaned into it, closed her eyes. My throat made this tiny sound I didn't recognize. It was like a whimper got stuck in the back of my neck. And that's when her eyes opened and locked on mine. The color drained from her face like someone had flipped a switch. Let me rewind. Just a few hours. She told me she was going to have dinner with her cousin from Oregon. Apparently, this cousin had just flown in and needed to talk. I didn't even know she had a cousin in Oregon. But I didn't argue. I never do. I'm the kind of guy who says, "Sure, no problem," before the other person finishes their sentence. It's a curse, but I couldn't shake this feeling. You know the kind. Like something's humming in your chest, and it's not your heart. So I did something I'd never done before. I followed her. I left 15 minutes after she did. No plan. No idea what I was doing. Just adrenaline and bad instincts. She parked near the old courtyard downtown. That place with the tiny bistro lights and stone archway where people take engagement photos like their love is vintage and rare. I watched her walk inside alone. I waited. 10 minutes later, a man showed up. I recognized him. I shouldn't have, but I did. It was her friend from college. The one she swore only ever texted her once or twice a year. The one who, years ago, called her sunshine in a message I wasn't supposed to see. And now, they were sitting across from each other. Not awkward. Not distant. Familiar. She touched his arm first. I should have left. But instead, I walked up to their table, unnoticed, with a pit in my stomach and a rage I didn't even know I was capable of feeling. My palms were shaking. My lips were dry. I felt like a side character walking into the wrong scene of a play that wasn't mine anymore. And then, I said something that made him freeze, and made her drop her fork. "I thought your cousin was from Oregon," I said. That was it. That was the line. Just 7 stupid words. But in that moment, it felt like I had set the whole restaurant on fire. Kaylee's hand, which had been holding her wine glass midair, trembled just enough for the red liquid to ripple inside. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. Across from her, the man, Peter, I remembered now, dropped his silverware. It clanged against the plate and echoed louder than it should have. No one else in the place seemed to notice. That's what made it worse. We were in a little bubble of betrayal, completely invisible to the world. She finally spoke. "Corbin, what are you doing here?" Wrong question. What was I doing here? Following her? Spying? Being the pathetic husband who didn't trust his wife because deep down he already knew the truth? I didn't answer. I looked down at her plate, where her fork had pierced a piece of grilled salmon, perfectly seared. I had made salmon for her 3 nights ago. She said she wasn't in the mood for fish anymore. "You told me you needed time alone," I said. "You said you wanted to reconnect with yourself. You said you were drained, Kaylee." Peter cleared his throat, but I didn't look at him. If I did, I would have done something I'd regret. I wasn't a violent man. Never have been. But in that moment, I wanted to flip the whole table and scream until my lungs collapsed. She stood up, quickly, almost knocking the chair back. "Corbin, let's not do this here." That sentence broke something in me. Not "I'm sorry." Not "let me explain." Just "let's not do this here." I reached into my coat pocket. Slowly, like in a movie. I wasn't holding a weapon. I was holding the receipt from the hiking cabin I never checked into. I unfolded it, laid it gently on the table in front of her wine glass, and said, "This is where I was supposed to be." She didn't touch it. Her hand hovered over it, but she pulled back like it was burning her skin. Peter stood now too, awkwardly, and whispered, "Maybe I should go." I laughed. It wasn't a strong laugh. It was the kind of laugh someone makes when they realize the joke was always on them. "No, Peter," I said. "Stay. She picked you. At least finish the salmon." And then I walked out, hands shaking, chest hollow, wondering what hurt more, the betrayal or how small I'd become trying to earn love that was already gone. The door of the restaurant clicked shut behind me, but it didn't feel like I had stepped outside. It felt like I had stepped out of my own skin. The cold air hit my face, but I barely noticed. My ears were ringing. I walked toward my car like a ghost, passing couples clinking glasses behind fogged-up windows, all of them safe in their own little lies. The air smelled like roasted garlic and rosemary. And still, somehow, under it all, I could smell her perfume, the one I bought her for Christmas last year, clinging to the collar of my coat like a cruel afterthought. I sat in the driver's seat and didn't start the engine. Just sat there with my hands gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing anchoring me to reality. The streetlight flickered above, flashing shadows across the dashboard, and I could see my own face in the rearview mirror. Eyes wide, mouth slightly open, like I was waiting for someone to tell me it was all a test and I had passed. But no one came. I reached for my phone. No missed calls. No messages. Kaylee didn't even try to follow me. She just let me go. That was the part that twisted the knife. Not that she cheated, but that she didn't even flinch when I left. It was like I'd been erased in real time. I opened our shared photo album. Our wedding photos were still there. Her smiling in that ridiculous veil she said made her look like a marshmallow. Me standing next to her like the luckiest idiot alive. I stared at a picture of us dancing, her head on my chest, and wondered how long she'd been lying to me with that exact same expression. I don't know how long I sat there, but eventually I started the car and drove. Not home. I couldn't face the house yet. Not the photos on the fridge, or the throw blanket she always insisted had to be folded diagonally. I ended up in the parking lot of a 24-hour grocery store, parked under a security camera, eating a bag of pretzels I hadn't paid for yet. It was the first time in my life I ever stole anything. I just sat there eating one salty pretzel at a time like I had nowhere to be, because suddenly I didn't, and then my phone lit up. Kaylee was calling. I stared at it. Just her name on the screen. No emojis. No hearts. Just Kaylee. It rang. And rang. And just before it went to voicemail, I answered. I didn't say anything when I picked up. I just breathed, shallow and uneven, like I was afraid my own voice might betray how broken I felt. For a moment, there was only silence. No traffic, no background noise, not even her voice. Just the emptiness between two people who used to know each other. Then I heard it. Her voice. Hey! Corbin. It didn't sound like her. It sounded like someone trying to sound like her. Rehearsed, careful, overly soft. The way you speak to someone you've hurt but still need something from. I didn't respond. I waited. I didn't mean for you to find out like that, she said. Like that? I almost laughed. Was there a better way? Did she have a PowerPoint version prepared for when I got home from Vermont? She went on, talking quickly now. It wasn't planned. We ran into each other again at a conference in Seattle last year and things just happened. I didn't know how to stop it. You mean you didn't want to? I finally said, my voice sounding hoarse, like it had been dragged through gravel. Silence again. I did want to, she whispered. At first. But then it became easier to lie to me. I finished for her. The silence that followed was the kind that crushes ribs. I could hear her breathing, a shaky inhale, then the quietest sob, the kind she used to make when watching sad movies. But now it wasn't for a movie. Now it was real. And I felt absolutely nothing. Until she slipped. I'm sorry, Colin, she whispered. I blinked. Colin? I asked. You mean Corbin? More silence. Then I heard the unmistakable click of her muting herself. Probably to curse under her breath or slam her head into a wall. I waited. You called me by his name, I said. Calmly. Almost too calmly. No, I didn't. I meant you. I'm flustered. No, Kaylee. That's what you call him when you're lying to me. And with that, I hung up. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't throw the phone. I just sat there in the parking lot, crushed by the weight of something I hadn't even realized I was carrying for years. The truth. The real, unfiltered, rotten truth. She had left me a long time ago. Tonight was just the first time I finally caught up. I didn't sleep that night. I drove in circles until the roads turned empty and familiar, like my life, just looping through old routines that no longer belonged to me. At some point around 3 a.m., I pulled into our driveway. The house looked exactly the same as I'd left it, which somehow made it worse. Nothing outside had changed, but I had. I stared at the porch light she always forgot to turn off, and I wondered if she thought I'd just never come home again. The living room smelled like her perfume, faint but present, like a ghost had passed through, or maybe I was just imagining it. Her shoes were by the door. The ones I bought her last Christmas. The ones she said were too pretty to wear anywhere boring. I stepped past them like they were landmines. Her suitcase was in the hallway. Not packed. Not zipped. Just sitting open with clothes half-stuffed inside. I didn't touch it. I wasn't ready for whatever answers were folded in there. But the laptop on the kitchen counter? That was different. It was open. Awake. The screen still glowing, like it had been waiting for me. I approached it slowly, unsure whether I wanted the truth or just some illusion that might help me sleep. The folder was right there. Untitled, sloppy, like she'd thrown it together without caring who might see. I clicked. Inside were screenshots. Dozens of them. Messages between her and Peter, photos, jokes, voice memos. Some of the images were from our home. Him in the background. Him holding our dog. Him drinking coffee out of the mug I used every morning. I saw one message she sent him 3 weeks ago. I can't wait until we don't have to sneak around anymore. I'm tired of pretending. Pretending. My hands started shaking so hard I almost knocked the laptop off the counter. But I didn't. I stood there, shoulders slumped, scrolling through the proof of just how far gone she'd been while I was still trying to fix us. Then I saw a video file. It was short, 42 seconds. No title, just a date. I clicked it, and what I heard wasn't meant for me. I almost didn't play the video. I hovered my finger over the trackpad like it might burn me. My brain was screaming, don't give it power. Don't do this to yourself. But I clicked anyway, because what's one more wound when you're already bleeding? The screen lit up. It was our bedroom. Our bed. My bed. The phone was placed awkwardly on the dresser, slightly tilted, like someone had bumped it and forgot it was still recording. The angle was off, but it was enough. I saw movement. Sheets. Skin. Her voice. And Peter's voice, laughing. They weren't even trying to be quiet. It was like they believed our home was some kind of playground, and I was the fool who built it for them. I didn't watch the whole thing. Couldn't. At exactly 17 seconds in, she said something that punched a hole through the middle of my chest. He still thinks I'm working late. Poor guy. If he ever found out, I swear he'd probably cry himself into a coma. He laughed. He'd probably thank me for doing what he never could. I closed the laptop so hard I thought I cracked the screen. My legs buckled beneath me, and I slid down the kitchen cabinet, curling into myself like a child hiding from a thunderstorm. I wasn't angry in that moment. I wasn't screaming or breaking dishes like I imagined I would. I was just small. Like every insult she'd ever said behind my back had shrunk me down to nothing. I sat there on the floor for hours. I didn't check the time. I didn't move. I just let the pain settle into my bones like it was part of me now. A new organ I'd have to carry around for the rest of my life. When morning light finally crept through the windows, I stood. My knees cracked like they were rejecting the idea. I grabbed a trash bag, moved silently through the house, and started gathering the pieces of her. Her shoes, her jacket, her charger, her stupid organic cereal. I dumped everything into the bag like I was removing mold. Then I walked upstairs and opened the bedroom closet. That's where I found the envelope. My name was written on the front in her handwriting. It had been there all along. I stood there staring at it. The envelope was light gray, slightly curled at the edges, like it had been placed there a while ago. Maybe weeks, maybe months. My name was scrawled in her rushed, lowercase handwriting. Corbin. No capital letter. No heart over the I like she used to do in the early days. Just lowercase. Like I didn't deserve the formality of being important anymore. It wasn't sealed. She hadn't even bothered to lick it shut. I slipped the letter out. One page. No folds. Typed. That surprised me. Kaylee always wrote her notes by hand. Sticky notes on the fridge. To-do lists with doodles in the margins. This felt sterile. It read like a confession. Or maybe a defense. I don't even know what I expected. Remorse? A plea? But what I got was something colder. Corbin, I know you'll find this eventually. I didn't leave it out of guilt. I left it because I'm tired of pretending. That line hit me like a punch. You and I were never meant to last this long. You always tried harder than I did, and I let you. You made our life comfortable, but I never wanted comfort. I wanted to feel alive. You were gentle, thoughtful, safe, and I thought I wanted that too. But somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing you as my partner. I started seeing you as my obligation. Obligation. I kept reading even as the words blurred. Peter doesn't ask me if I'm okay all the time. He doesn't overthink every conversation. He doesn't fold his socks in little rolls or spend an hour choosing the right wine. He just exists, and I feel free with him. I know this will hurt you, and for what it's worth, I'm sorry. But this isn't about you being a bad husband. It's about me being tired of being someone's delicate treasure. I let the page fall from my hand. My heart didn't break. It detached, like it stepped outside of me and refused to come back. I thought of every night I'd checked in on her. Every time I'd softened myself to keep her steady. Every sacrifice I made thinking it would earn love. And now I was just a footnote in her pursuit of feeling alive. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. But I walked over to my side of the bed, the one she never slept on, and placed the letter there. Then I walked back downstairs, picked up the trash bag full of her life, and dragged it out to the driveway. Because the next time she came back to this house, she was going to find it empty. She came home 2 days later. I heard the tires crunch on the gravel just before sunset. I didn't hide. I didn't rush to confront her. I just stood in the kitchen with a cup of tea, not coffee, not wine. Something quiet. Something warm. She walked in expecting a battle. I could see it on her face. Defensive. Prepared. But the house had changed. Her stuff? Gone. Her shoes by the door? Replaced with a welcome mat that just said, "Not anymore." She opened her mouth to speak, but I raised a hand gently. "You don't have to explain anything," I said. "I know everything I need to know." Her eyes flicked around, looking for the familiar. Photos, keys, her sweater on the chair. None of it was there. I had vacuumed every trace of her from this house like she was dust. Not in anger. Not in revenge. Just in release. "I'll stay somewhere else," she muttered. "You already have been," I replied. She looked stunned. But I wasn't trying to hurt her. That was the difference now. I didn't want her to feel pain. I just wanted to stop giving mine away so easily. She left without another word. And when the door clicked behind her, I didn't collapse. I didn't sink to the floor. I stood taller than I had in years. Over the next few weeks, I rebuilt quietly. New pillows, new dinnerware. I replaced the bed. Got a dog of my own, not the one we picked together. This one came from a shelter, limping but loyal. I named him Sage. I started writing again. I met new people. I sat in silence without feeling abandoned by it. And slowly, the version of me that had shrunk himself to fit her expectations started expanding again. I wasn't replaced. I was released. And maybe, just maybe, that was the gift I didn't know I needed. Have you ever discovered a painful truth, only to realize later it set you free? Share your moment of clarity in the comments. And if Corbin's story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us here on Reddit Confessions. Thank you for watching.